Now, hearing the guilty verdict was a victory for Zhang's family.
But of course, it doesn't bring their daughter back. WCIA3's Courtney Bunting is also live in Peoria. She heard from Zhang's father. Now, Courtney, this verdict had to bring some sense of relief to the family.
Absolutely. Well, you know, they didn't show much emotion while the verdict was being read, but afterward you could see Zhang's father hugging people around him who came around to watch the verdict being read. Now, it was a different story outside. While Zhang's father was reading the statement that they prepared in reaction to the verdict, Zhang's mother was so overcome with emotion while he was reading that she started sobbing, and they had to take a break from reading. After that, an attorney who's been working with the family continued reading that statement. He explained how the family's happy with the verdict, but the pain they felt from losing Zhang is far from over.
As of today, we still could not imagine how we will live the rest of our lives without her. There's no language that can describe our pain and suffering. We hope and believe that this trial will eventually bring justice to Yingying and us.
The family requested that the prosecutors consider a death penalty in the case. When they were asked about whether life in prison for Christensen would be justice, they said they'll leave that up to the jury. And they believe whatever the outcome is for the sentencing phase, that it will bring justice. The Zhang family also said that they want people to remember Zhang as hardworking and smart, and that she was the perfect daughter any family could dream of. They also said that finding her would bring them closure. Now, some family members will be testifying once the sentencing phase begins in 2 weeks, but they wouldn't say which family members those would be. Live in Peoria, Courtney Bunting, WCIA3, your local news leader.
All right, Courtney, thanks.
In the sweltering summer of 2017, in Champaign, Illinois, a 26-year-old woman named Yingying Zhang, originally from Nanping in southeast China, was pursuing her goals. Her father described her as someone who worked as hard for others as she did for herself, always aspiring to give back to her family, friends, and community. Yingying had devoted nearly a decade to her education, consistently ranking at the top of her class. She also had a deep passion for music and was the lead singer in a band. After graduating from Sun Yat-sen University, she earned a master's degree in environmental engineering. She then served as a visiting scholar at the Chinese Academy of Sciences before making the monumental decision to move across the globe to Illinois. In April 2017, Yingying said goodbye to her family and arrived in the States. While they were sad to see her go for such a long time, her mother knew Yingying was an independent person who would always push herself, no matter what anyone said. Her mother confessed to being worried, but kept it to herself, not wanting to frighten her daughter. Yingying's plan was to spend a year conducting research on photosynthesis and crop productivity at the University of Illinois before pursuing her Ph.D. She loved learning, but she loved sharing that knowledge even more. Her biggest dream was to become a professor in China. Her fiancé, Ho Xin, who remained in China, was counting down the days until they would be reunited. They had first met while studying in college, where they were the top 2 students in their graduating class. They were excitedly planning their wedding for October, which was only a few short months away. By June 2017, Yingying had been in Illinois for 2 months. She had fully immersed herself in her studies, making new friends and embracing a completely different life. June 9th was a particularly busy day, filled with work and meetings. At 8:30 in the morning, she arrived at the university to do some research. Around noon, she took a quick break to go back to her dorm for lunch. Afterward, she had an appointment with a real estate agent, hoping to sign a lease for a new apartment. Her day was scheduled to end with more work on campus, followed by dinner with friends around 7 in the evening. After lunch, Yingying boarded the first of 2 buses she needed to take to get to the apartment. At 1:39 in the afternoon, she sent a text to the agent letting them know she would be about 10 minutes late. The agent replied that it was not a problem, but by 2:38 in the afternoon, Yingying still hadn't arrived, and the agent had to leave. Throughout the afternoon, several people attempted to call Yingying, but she never responded. She missed her research session on campus and didn't show up for dinner. Shortly after 7 p.m., with still no word from her, one of her friends called the campus police. Around 9 p.m., officers began searching her dorm room. The lights were off, the windows were shut, and there were no signs of a forced entry. They found her travel documents and some cash. While it was impossible to say for sure, everything she had left behind suggested she fully intended to return. The campus police left their contact information, hoping she would be back by morning and get in touch. They initially thought she might just be taking a break after a stressful few days. However, by noon the next day, nearly 24 hours had passed with no communication. The situation quickly became a breaking news story. A desperate search for a missing University of Illinois student, Yingying Zhang. This was now officially a missing persons case, and detectives began trying to trace her phone. They got a hit on its location near the Illinois bus station, but there was no sign of her or her phone there. The FBI was soon called in to assist. Fortunately, there were numerous high-quality security cameras around campus, and they were confident they would find a lead. CCTV footage from the first bus showed Yingying getting on. The bus appeared to be quite empty, and no one else stood out. She got off on the opposite side of the street from her second bus stop, and frustratingly missed the bus by just a few seconds. She had tried to run and wave it down, but it was no use. This entire sequence was captured on the second bus's external camera. On a third camera a couple of blocks away, they saw Yingying walking down the street and stopping on a corner, presumably to make other travel plans. Suddenly, a dark car pulled up beside her. It appeared she and the driver had a very brief conversation before Yingying got into the passenger seat. The car then drove away. Was this someone she knew? Was it a taxi? Or was it a random person who had offered her a ride? Investigators reviewed countless more cameras, but there were no further sightings of her after that. Professor Huan, one of her friends, said it was highly unusual for Yingying to not answer her phone for several days. He called the police department and started making missing person posters, and a team distributed them throughout all of Champaign-Urbana. Detectives discovered that the car had been circling the area for a while before it pulled over to talk to Yingying. In fact, it had been going the opposite direction before seemingly noticing her turn a corner. Then it reversed to pull in next to her. While they couldn't make out the license plate, they were able to determine the make and model, a black Saturn Astra. The campus police made a critical connection when they received a call from another student named Emily. She reported that on the day Yingying disappeared, a white man driving a dark car had pulled over to talk to her. He said, "Hi, I'm an undercover cop doing some work in the area. Can I ask you some questions?" Emily said yes. He then pulled out a black badge, which she described as looking like a cheap fake Halloween costume prop. He asked her to get into the car, but Emily refused. He seemed taken aback before saying, "Okay, well, if you see anything suspicious in the area, give the police a call," and then drove off. This happened just 4 hours before Yingying got into a similar-looking car. Running the Saturn Astra make and model through the system, investigators learned there were only 18 four-door Saturn Astras registered to owners in the Champaign County area. More than half of them were immediately ruled out because they weren't the right color. Things were now moving very quickly. One of the registered owners was 28-year-old Brent Christensen. On June 12th, the police went to his house. Brent claimed he couldn't remember where he had been that day, but assumed he was at home, either playing video games or applying for new jobs. He and his wife were in an open relationship after their marriage had broken down, but she still lived there. However, on that specific day, she was out of town and couldn't confirm his whereabouts. Brent Christensen was a longtime resident of Champaign with a master's in physics and a former Ph.D. student. He was well known around campus as a teaching assistant. He had no criminal record and insisted he knew nothing about Yingying's disappearance. Consequently, detectives continued their search for other owners of the same car. As the search continued, Yingying's family and fiancé flew over from China to help with the appeals. Her father promised that if the person who had taken his daughter would just let her go, he would not pursue them. The FBI declared Yingying Zhang's case a national priority. Her family stated they would stay in the United States for as long as it took, and her father insisted he would not leave without her. Prayer vigils were held in Chicago's Bridgeport neighborhood, with lit candles symbolizing the community's hope. People, many of whom did not even know Yingying, came together in faith, hoping for her safe return. Her father made a new offer to the kidnapper. "As long as you let my daughter go home, I will not pursue you for anything." Yingying's family yearned for daily updates, even small ones, but there were none. The reward for information leading to her whereabouts grew to $50,000, the largest amount Crime Stoppers had ever offered. Her university also launched a GoFundMe campaign to help cover the family's expenses during their time in Illinois. Re-examining the camera footage, investigators found two more crucial details about the car. It had a sunroof and a broken hubcap on the front wheel. Police had taken photos of Brent's car on June 12th and noticed one of the pictures showed a broken hubcap. The car also had a sunroof. On June 15th, Brent was summoned for a second, more official interrogation. At the station, FBI Special Agent Anthony Mangano and University Police Detective Eric Cyrus questioned him for 1 hour. Brent continued to claim he had been home playing video games on June 9th. He said he had graduated a few weeks earlier and was now looking for jobs, so he had tried to find an alibi, but had nothing specific other than a few text messages sent around that time, but none between 2 and 3 in the afternoon. He also confirmed that his wife had been out of town from Thursday evening until Sunday night. When asked if he had gone anywhere that day, Brent admitted to driving around on Saturday but didn't go out to eat or to any specific places. Investigators took samples and swabs from his apartment, including from a baseball bat on the floor. A cadaver dog reacted to areas in his bedroom near the door and sink, as well as to a mattress that had been completely stripped. Under pressure, Brent remained fairly calm at first, but soon became quiet and his legs started twitching. The detectives noticed his face and neck turned from pale to red and blotchy, as if he were having a reaction, and he began to breathe with difficulty. When they revealed that they could track his car using the campus-wide camera system, Brent started to admit the truth. He finally confessed to giving an Asian female a ride, but said that when he took a quicker route, the woman became nervous. He claimed he wasn't going to keep someone I barely know in my car who doesn't want to be in there, so he let her out. However, he also claimed to be unsure if it was even the same person or if it was the same day, the more he thought about it. When questioned about a scratch on his right bicep, he explained that he had scratched himself in his sleep. Continuing the interrogation, the detectives pressed Brent, trying to convince him to reveal the truth.
We just got a lot of questions to ask. We want to get this resolved so everybody can move on with their lives.
Sorry about that, Brent. Our system's running a little bit slow this night. I know the storm's coming in. We're getting power outages. Like I said, you're home. My name is Anthony Manganaro. I'm a special agent with the FBI. I'm assigned here at Champaign. And then this is Eric?
Yeah, Detective Eric Cyrus.
Detective with University Police, okay. We are investigating the disappearance of Ms. Yingying. The most viable tip that we had referred to a black Saturn Astra. So that's why he came and talked to you.
Yeah. I graduated a couple weeks ago, so I'm looking for jobs right now. So,
okay.
I mean, I was either playing video games on my computer or taking an afternoon nap. So I looked into certain things to try and see if I could get some kind of info for an alibi. I sent some texts around that time, but none exactly between 2 and 3.
You said your wife was out of town.
Yes.
The guys mentioned something about Wisconsin. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. You guys are originally from there? Or
Yes.
Okay. Do you know what days she was in Wisconsin?
Like late Thursday night, early Friday morning until Sunday evening.
Can you remember, you said you played video games all day on Friday?
Yeah.
Is it just between the time period that he's asking about or just literally all day?
Literally all day. At the moment, not really hanging out with too many people or talking to too many people. My wife and the girl I talked to, she was busy. My wife was out of town, so it's like, well, I'm home today. So, yeah.
You didn't go cruising campus or anything?
I did on Saturday, but I mean, getting a little stir crazy just decided to go for a drive on Saturday, but...
Did you go out to eat or anything? Go any places?
No, I didn't go out to eat.
They stated they knew Yingying didn't just get out of the car and walk away, and that finding her depended on his honesty. they emphasized that hiding the truth would hinder the investigation. A detective asked Brent if he was attracted to her, and he admitted she was a good-looking girl and that the thought had crossed his mind. The detective assured him they weren't judging, and that if something happened after Yingying got into the car consensually, he should say so. However, Brent continued to defend his actions.
Look, you know that we didn't bring you all the way up here to talk about video games and what you had for lunch that day.
Yep.
Why do you think that we brought you up here?
Because the car I own was seen picking up a girl that's missing.
Yeah. So who was driving that car other than you on Friday night? On Friday the 9th. You're driving your car on the 9th.
Does anybody else have access to that car?
No one has access to the car.
Okay.
But specifically on that day, okay, when you originally told the agents that came to your apartment that you just played video games all day long. You didn't leave the apartment.
Yeah.
But it's fair to say that we know that that's not true, correct?
Why would I lie?
You're making it sound like we just randomly came across your vehicle of the 1,400 Astros that are in the state of Illinois.
I have
So what would have happened that day that brings us to you?
probably that I live in Champaign. I mean, I've never seen one before, an Astro. So,
Okay.
No, well, believe me when I say that the full weight and force of the FBI is going to descend on that vehicle.
Okay.
And all that entails.
okay.
Right now, my primary concern and why I've been out till midnight, and these guys have been out till midnight every single night, is we're trying to find this girl. It's raining outside, it's nasty. She's a foreign student, has only been here for a few weeks. I want to find her.
There's
Brent, I need to know why she's getting into your car, and I need to know where she went.
If we can help her, we need to know now, because we need to move on from this.
It's been like 6 days now.
I don't know what to say. Sorry.
The detectives told him they knew he didn't drop her off in that neighborhood, and that they could track her phone. They demanded he tell them where he dropped her off. Despite their strong suspicions, the police made a calculated risk to release Brent so they could place him under surveillance. They believed this was the smartest choice while waiting for forensic test results. They then reached out to Tara, Brent's new girlfriend. Tara had met him online a couple of months earlier, and they were in a BDSM relationship. She described how their relationship started well, but began to deteriorate. Tara was shocked when police revealed what they were investigating him before, but since he had already said some strange things about Yingying's case, she agreed to help. She was given 2 recording devices to capture as much as she could.
And you've been at the U of I for how long?
3 years.
And that you know what we do? I work in the Detectives Bureau at the U of I, and you know what we have access to? Cameras. Do you think that we're not going to track a vehicle all over campus? We control kiosks to bus stops. We can look in buses. We can look in every building out on the streets. And you're telling me that I didn't see you driving your car on Goodwin, that I didn't see you driving down Wright Street and turning on right in front of parking where everybody pays their tickets and driving down University to Goodwin and heading south. And then you see her standing on that corner in that shade tree, didn't you? That's where you first saw her. And then you turned on Clark. And we still have cameras.
I've seen the videos. I didn't see me.
You've seen what we've allowed you to see.
Can I see this stuff that you're talking about?
Do you think that we brought you up here to show you video? We want to understand why you did it.
Yeah.
We want to understand why you stopped her to pick her up. Was it to give her a ride? Are you afraid to tell us? We can work with you there. But I know that you picked her up. I know you did. I saw you in your shirt, arms fully extended. When you say she freaked out, what did she do? Did she start throwing things at you? Did she scratch you? It looks like you have a scratch on your right bicep there. Is that from...
I scratched myself in my sleep. That's from me.
What was her ethnicity? You said she had trouble speaking English. Well,
She was Asian.
She was Asian.
She was Asian.
Okay. What I can tell you is that we will find her. Now, when we find her is up to you. Because you know, and we know, that she didn't just get out of your car. So we need to know where she is now so that we can move forward from this. But if you maintain that she just got out of the car and walked away, it's very difficult for us to move forward.
Were you hoping for just kind of like a quick tryst with her, or see if, trying to pick her up?
I mean, that would have been nice, but
You do realize like, everything you tell us, we fact check regardless of what you tell us. So, like stuff like YouTube videos that you've seen regarding Asian women. Do you like videos of Asian women? Like Korean women?
like K-pop songs and stuff. I mean,
Maybe.
I like all types of women.
Okay.
And that's the truth. So I don't have an Asian fetish.
But something drew your eye to her because you were cruising all over, and if she was truly distressed, I mean, there was an e-phone stand right behind her. She could have pushed that button and got help. And she didn't ask you for help per se. She asked. She needed to get to. She was late for something.
Yeah.
And so you offered to give her a ride. Look, I've been doing this. I'm 45 years old. I've been policing basically since I was 21 years old. And I get that sometimes people lie to me. I don't get upset over that. I don't take it personal. A lot of times people, they tell me truths and then, or they basically, a little bit of truth here, a little bit of truth there, but just to try to stay the course, to make me believe that they're telling me they're being entirely truthful. But you and I know that here and now, what we're talking about, you're not being entirely truthful with us. And at this point, we're trying to help you. We're trying to help her. We're trying to help her family. Were you attracted to her at all?
Reasonable amount.
Well, she's a good-looking girl. Did the thought cross your mind?
Yeah, the thought crossed my mind, but it probably happened with anyone.
I mean, maybe she's into that. Is my point. And I'm not judging you if she got in your car and she wanted to go to another location. You guys have sex, consensual sex. Something happens. Are you afraid to tell me if you did? Because it seems like you're trying to think instead of just answering the question. You're trying to think about 3 steps forward,
Well,
like where I'm going with it. And I think I've demonstrated enough. I've shared enough with you that you know that I know that you didn't drop her off in that neighborhood. You know that we can follow her phone.
okay.
So where did you drop her off at?
Where'd you take her, Brent? We need to find Yingying.
That night, Tara attended a vigil for Yingying that Brent had asked her to go to. They both appeared on the news, walking with hundreds of other people. There, Brent began making cryptic and then more brazen comments. Surrounded by people searching for Yingying, he remarked that No one knows the real truth, and described how fiercely she had fought back. She worked, she fought more than anyone else, he said. Over several days, Tara made a total of 9 recordings, each more disturbing than the last. Brent confessed to planning to abduct and murder someone months beforehand, bragging that he could kill someone and get away with it. He said he lured Yingying into his car by impersonating a police officer, promising to take her where she needed to go. He drove her back to his apartment, forced her inside, raped her, and then choked her for what he said was about 10 minutes. Brent described her fight for life as almost supernatural. He then dragged her to his bathtub and attacked her with a baseball bat, hitting her so hard he said it broke her head open. He said he then used a knife to stab her in the neck and laughed as he described decapitating her. I took the head off and said that was the end of it. She was done, he said. Brent dismembered her body and placed it into 3 separate bags, which he threw into a dumpster outside his apartment. He then drove off, disposing of her belongings all over the Champaign area. 3 days later, the dumpster's contents were emptied and taken to a landfill. Brent said her body would never be found and her family would leave the U.S. empty-handed. He compared himself to serial killer Ted Bundy and bragged to Tara that he was pretty good at this, after watching everyone fail to find Yingying. He even claimed to have killed 12 other people before her. 4 texts he sent to Tara read, "It was me. She was number 13. She is gone forever." Tara said she adopted her submissive persona to avoid raising suspicion and to get information, fearing that if it seemed like she knew too much, she might not be safe herself. Although Yingying was still a missing person, the police now considered this a murder investigation and informed her family of the horrific news. On Brent's birthday, June 30th, he was arrested. Subsequent testing confirmed Yingying's blood and DNA were in his apartment. The likelihood that the DNA on the carpet was from anyone other than her was 1 in 97 octillion, a 97 followed by 27 zeros. Investigators also checked Brent's online accounts and found that on an adult website, he had written a post that said, "I want to test my limits and experience everything." He had also read numerous posts about kidnapping and rape fantasies. He also researched serial killers by victim count, downloaded a research paper on human decomposition, and saved several disturbing images of women. Emily, the student Brent had tried to lure into his car, immediately identified him from a photo lineup as well. In counseling sessions in the months beforehand, Brent had spoken about his issues with drugs and alcohol, talked about being suicidal, and even mentioned having homicidal thoughts. He said it was not specific people, but probably a type. He admitted he was always fascinated by the bad guys, especially Ted Bundy, whom he considered the worst person I've ever heard of. Brent was charged with kidnapping resulting in death and lying to the FBI. It was a very strong case. His attorney at the time, Evan Bruno, argued that his client should be released on bail due to his lack of a criminal record and his ties to the community, but this was denied. Prosecutors revealed the chilling information that Brent had even attended Yingying's vigil and was allegedly casing the crowd for other potential targets. The judge ruled that he was a danger to the community. At a court hearing, Brent said almost nothing and showed no emotion. In a jailhouse recording with his mother, he again denied everything. At that point, none of his family knew about the recordings obtained by Tara. Brent's lawyers then requested to be removed from the case, citing that he could face more serious charges, and that he lacked the necessary funds. Their request was granted, and he was appointed a team of public defenders. The jury returned a superseding indictment, charging him with 1 count of kidnapping resulting in death, and 2 counts of making false statements to the FBI. He pleaded not guilty to all 3 charges. If convicted of kidnapping resulting in death, he could face life in prison without parole or the death penalty. Although Illinois had abolished capital punishment in 2011, Brent was still eligible for the death penalty because he was charged in federal court with a federal crime, and federal prosecutors can seek a death sentence on any capital charge regardless of where the crime occurred or where the defendant lives. Before the trial even began, Brent offered to plead guilty and reveal the location of Yingying's body. However, prosecutors believed this was just another manipulation, as the odds of finding her were slim to none, and he knew it. Yingying's family was informed of the offer, and asked the prosecution to verify the claim, locate the remains, and allow them to be brought back to China. They were told it wasn't possible to verify any claim the defendant would make, and there was no guarantee her remains would ever be discovered. The family was wary of his claims, as he had lied many times before. Christmas and New Year's came and went, with her family still searching for her every day. Her fiancé said, "Ying is our pride and joy. We know Yingying wants to be with us, and we will not leave the United States without her." The family also sent a letter to the president asking for more federal assistance. A memorial for Yingying was held, with hundreds of people attending to remember her not as a victim, but as a young woman full of life. Her father said they came from a poor, rural area of China and were not well educated, but his daughter had forged a different path for herself. She wanted to become a university professor after obtaining her Ph.D. and contribute to scientific research. All of that was tragically cut short in 2017. Just as Brent's defense team was about to begin mental health examinations, they unexpectedly announced they would abandon the mental health defense. Brent's father, Mike, stated that his son may have schizophrenia or psychosis, but was never formally diagnosed. Mike believed his son's actions could have been prevented if university counselors had spoken to him and taken proper action. He said, "How can someone like this commit a crime like this? It makes no sense. Something had to have happened. Something snapped." He added that if the jury for some reason found him not guilty, he would have him committed because someone capable of such an act couldn't live freely in society. In a surprising opening statement at the trial, Brent's lawyers admitted that their client was responsible for Yingying's death, though they denied the prosecution's version of events. After 8 days of compelling testimony and evidence, including the surveillance recording of Christensen describing how he killed Yingying, the jury deliberated for just 2 hours before returning a guilty verdict on all counts. However, the sentencing phase was more complex. For Brent to receive the death penalty, all 12 jurors had to reach a unanimous decision. Despite testimony from Brent's family about a long history of mental illness and alcohol abuse, the jury remained deadlocked. Because the jury could not reach a unanimous decision, the judge sentenced Brent Christensen to life in prison without the possibility of parole. When the verdict was read, Brent lowered his head and smiled. The judge then called him out for his complete lack of remorse and his refusal to offer any apology. Yingying's devastated family, who had sat through the entire trial, spoke to him in court. When her father tearfully spoke about the loss of his daughter, Brent appeared to become slightly agitated. After the trial, Yingying's mother broke down in tears outside the courthouse, saying she wanted to find her daughter and bring her home. Her father said there are no words to describe their pain and suffering, and he felt the outcome of the trial seemed to encourage criminals. Her fiancé also expressed disappointment with the verdict. Investigators stated they would continue to search for Yingying's remains. However, an FBI special agent revealed that because the contents of the dumpster where her body was placed had been compacted at least twice at the landfill, finding anything left of her would be incredibly difficult and dangerous for workers. Yingying's family filed a lawsuit against the University of Illinois counselors who had interviewed Brent. They accused the counselors of acting with deliberate indifference to the warning signs he exhibited and claimed their incomplete treatment plan led to her death. However, a judge dismissed the lawsuit, stating that it was mere speculation that their failure to carry out a treatment plan put Yingying in any greater danger. The judge concluded that the situation with Christensen was already dangerous and would have remained so. A 600-square-foot memorial garden bearing Yingying's name was built on the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign campus. This garden was created as a place for people to remember Yingying, not as a victim, but as a vibrant young woman full of life. Her family also established an endowment fund in her memory to support international students in crisis and their families. In one of her final journal entries, Yingying wrote, "Life is too short to be ordinary." She was just months away from returning home, getting married, and achieving her dream of becoming a teacher. Her father shared that he and his family fell into a deep depression and barely slept for years after her disappearance. He said, "This wonderful daughter of mine, she is my everything. Our entire family does not know how to carry on. She is a part of me, as if my life without her would not be complete. To tell you the truth, I don't know how to live the rest of my life. As of today, Yingying's remains have never been found. The death of Yingying Zhang is a heartbreaking tragedy, not just for her family, but for the entire international community. Her story is not only a powerful reminder of the risks and dangers that lurk in the world, but also a testament to the love and resilience of a family. Though Yingying's remains were never found, the dedication and determination of her parents, fiancé, and community became a great source of strength. Her quote, "Life is too short to be ordinary," will forever be a powerful reminder of a young woman with great dreams and aspirations that were cut short far too soon. If this story has touched you, please leave a comment sharing your thoughts. Don't forget to follow the channel for more meaningful stories and to help us spread a message of caution and compassion in life.